Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to the Abundance Tree podcast. I'm Janice Luke, and I'm accompanied by my partner in crime.
Capri, how we doing?
Good. How are
Good,
you?
good. I'm hot. It's hot
Oh,
outside. This
it's hot.
heat, this heat hurting. I'm gonna say it every episode.
It's
Hot.
hot, right? We're going into the summer, so we're gonna be even more hot,
I'm going into the air conditioning. Y'all gonna be hot.
right?
I don't do
Right.
outside in the summertime.
Right. I try to stay in too. Honestly, honestly, yeah, it gets sweltering
Yes,
here in Texas, so
I believe it. Yeah,
yeah.
it's not much different in Georgia.
Yeah. So, with all this weather talk, I think we have a very interesting guest this evening. So,
We really do. So we actually have a platform psychic medium. She passed to the other side at the age of 27 and decided to come back. She has worked on missing people cases as well as consulted with many well-known paranormal groups and authors. She is an author and teacher of psychic and mediumship development and has created the Relationship Mastery Program, which teaches people how to change their energy, learn their 5 love lessons, repair their relationships, and magnetize anyone or anything into their lives. We have Miss June Edward.
it's,
So cool.
that is cool. Very interesting.
Very interesting. I can't wait to
Yes.
hear her story.
Right.
June.
June.
Oh, you're on mute.
There you go.
There you
Hey,
are.
June. Hey, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Oh,
Good.
wow.
Thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. We were just reading your bio and are extremely interested in your story.
What would you like to know?
Anything, wherever you would like to start in your journey.
Let's see. So, been in business my entire life, owned several large businesses, grew up in business. Never in my life thought I'd be working as a relationship expert, an author, best-selling author, or a psychic medium. None of the above. You never know where your journey is going to take you. I can tell you that.
Wow.
That's for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that is short.
Yeah.
Did you realize that you had I was reading about you said you left and came back when you were 27. Was that due to an accident? And I kind of wanted to know if you kind of knew that you had I'll say gifts, at an early age before then, or
So I did. So since I was a child, when I was about 3 was my first instance of remembering anything happening. And I woke up one morning hearing someone call my name, thinking it's my parents, went to go check on them, and they're both sound asleep, went back into my room, and then realized there were faces all over my room. I could see faces looking at, scared the heck out of me. Went under my covers, pulled them up over my face, and the sun started to come up, and I could see the shadows like getting in my face. It was very frightening as a child. And then you start knowing things before it's going to happen. And when you go to school, you start telling your friends what's going to happen, and you get labeled a freak really quick. So, as much as I could, I really tried to block my abilities. And when I was 21, I got married. When I was 22, I injured my back and I needed back surgery. And I just knew that if I went in for the surgery, I was going to die. I just knew it. And when you have that knowing, that is actually your soul. That's giving me a heads up. So I put it off as long as I could. I put it off for 5 years until I had no choice. And then I told everybody before I went in, I said, listen, I think I'm going to die. And they're like, oh, no, you're going to be fine. You're just scared. I'm like, I'm telling you, I know I'm going to die. What am I going to do? So it was actually the night before my surgery. They had done an MRI test with a contrast dye, and I let them know that I thought I was allergic to it. I'd had it once before and had a really bad reaction to it. I couldn't get off the table for hours. And they just brushed it off. Oh, that's normal. Everybody has that reaction to it. What do I know? I'm 27. I'm not the doctor. As soon as they administered it to me, I died. And people call it an NDE, a near death experience. That's what the scientists labeled it because they haven't been able to quantify it yet. So they say. But I did a lot of research on it fairly recently, actually, for TED Talk, and they lump everyone into an NDE. So, for an example, there's two things you take with you when you go to the other side. You take with you all your feelings and your knowledge. So if you're going to get into a big car accident or something, your soul literally jumps out of your body so that your soul is not being injured and feeling all that pain. Okay. My younger brother was 16, got in a really bad accident that almost killed him. And he remembers standing on the sidewalk, watching everything happen until the paramedics came. Then he went back into his body. Now, my girlfriend, the same thing. She got impaled by a deer through her side window. And she's a devout Catholic. And until she met me, she thought she'd done something wrong in life and that she wasn't going to go to heaven, because she remembers being stuck on the headliner on the roof of her car and seeing the deer's spirit go to heaven. And she didn't understand that her soul jumped out of her body just to save her all that pain until the paramedics came. So we are the soul inside. We're not the suit that sits here. And some of your soul's in your body. Some of it is over your body that people can see, and they call it an aura. And the majority of your soul is actually in the lowest level of heaven, which is the fifth dimension. And so everyone's experience is a little bit different that actually does die. And I always said I died because I died, and I knew I died. Some people see a tunnel, some people see the light. I did not get any of that. I immediately was just whisked to the other side, and there I was. And the feeling was just overwhelming love for me. It was just incredible. And without your body, you don't have pain, you don't have weight. It's just so amazing on the other side. And as much as I could see what was happening below, I could see everything. I could see the nurses at the nurses station. I could see the guy in the room behind me. I could see everything they were doing to my body, but I didn't feel anything because I wasn't there. And I was getting a full life review. And again, everybody's different that gets that. And they were showing me everything that was amazing in my life until that, up to that point. I had a very difficult life, very difficult upbringing, a lot of struggles. And they showed me everything that was important in my life, the people that loved me, the times that brought me happiness. They didn't show me my children, though. And I was really, I was going to stay, honestly. And then I remembered I had two very young children. And I knew that they were the biggest reason that I came back this time, and that they brought me the most joy in my life. And they were the reason that I decided to come back. And as soon as I made that decision, I was back in my body almost instantly. But I did hear them tell me from behind that it's not really my time. I can stay if I want to, or I could go back. It was my choice. So what I found out is that less than 10%, 10% of the people that have an NDE get to that level to begin with. Less than that have a life review, and next to no one gets a choice to come back. Yeah.
Wow. Oh
Oh,
my
Yeah,
wow.
really
goodness.
amazing. Yeah.
That's quite the story. That's very powerful.
Yeah.
Well,
And when
It
so
really is.
you think of quantum physics and the speed of light, because there is science behind all this, they just don't want to tell you that, right? The speed of light is almost 300 million miles a second. When my soul left my body, that's the speed it was traveling, and then it came back into my body at that speed. So my vibration is really, really high. When you talk about vibration, energy, frequency, it's all different names for the same thing. So I can connect to the other side instantly, and I have the ability to go back and forth to the lowest level of heaven, the fifth dimension, at any time. They've let me see beyond that, but I have not been able to go beyond that since I'm still in this body. But it's pretty amazing.
Wow. I
so
guess, oh, go ahead, Janice.
oh, I was gonna ask, so when you refer to they, like, and the love that you felt, I mean, I'm a Christian, so to me that I believe that would be God, Jesus, or you know,
So it's interesting because my upbringing, my mom was a medium and I didn't know that because my dad had kidnapped the youngest of us when I was 10 and told us she was just crazy and threw us out, which was not the case. So she was taking us to all different churches and exposing us to all different religions because she was searching for answers. So I can tell you that there is only one. You can call him whatever you want, source energy, God,
God.
Allah, Buddha, I don't care. There's only one. And I didn't believe in angels and saints and all this stuff when I was young. I thought it was all a bunch of made up stuff. And I can tell you they are all very, very real. Angels are a completely separate race. They were never human. Their entire existence is only to help us, but they cannot help unless you ask. That's their rule. There's rules on the other side, the same as there are here. And if you want their help, you have to ask, and they will step in immediately. And part of what I do is I teach people how to get in touch with their soul, how energy works, and how to converse with the angels, because they talk in binary code and numbers, and they're always giving you signs on where you're supposed to be in life and what you're supposed to be doing.
Wow. I guess one thing that stands out to me is your memory is, I can't remember what I did 3 days ago. And your memory of when you were 3 is very vivid. Just everything, like your memory of everything is just like
Some stuff. I
impeccable.
mean, so, if it's not important, I just dump it at this point in life. But, the important things really stand out for everyone, I think. Yeah.
Wow. How did that so when you came back, how was the shift for you and just like your daily, your way of thinking, your actions, like what did you
So,
do?
so our belief system is based on what we've been taught or what we experience, right? And that was just so cognitive dissonance, right? So outside of my normal thought process. I couldn't even talk about it for years without sitting here bawling my eyes out because all the feelings just flood right back to you. It took me a long time to process it. It really did. Um, it's just it's almost beyond belief, to be honest with you. If it didn't happen to me, I'd have to say, is it real? But once something like that happens to you, it's undeniable. It's like anything else in life. Once you've witnessed it, once you've seen it, there's no going back at that point. And I'm grateful that I'm able to talk about it and experience it, and that, you would think my abilities would have just opened right up at that point in time, right? But that was not the case, because I still had a lot of fear as well. What did start to open back up for me was being able to see the energy again. So I was able to start seeing orbs of energy and all that stuff again. I started getting interested in going on haunted vacations, believe it or not. I went to Alcatraz, the Wally House, the Queen Mary, you name it, I went there. And
The
it was,
Queen Mary freaked me out.
oh yeah, I slept on that. And I had entities trying to wake me up in the middle of the night. And I'm like, get out of here. I got to drive in the morning.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, but it was only 10 years ago, really, that my abilities really reopened again for me and came back 1,000 times stronger than when I was a child. And everything happens in life when it's supposed to, right? I still had a lot to learn on my journey before I was ready, and wouldn't have been able to help the people that I help if I hadn't walked through their shoes, basically. And 10 years ago, I was having a lot of difficulty in my own business. I was getting divorced for the second time. I was running 5 businesses. It was just insane. And I went to have Reiki done just to relax, and she recommended that I meditate. And the same thing every one of my students has said to me, I can't meditate. I can't shut my brain off. Well, it's cumulative. And the first time that I meditated, it was like they kicked the door in from the other side. She's ready. And I
Wow.
couldn't shut it off. I could not shut it off. And that was almost more frightening, because now I wake up in the morning and same thing. I got 30 or 40 souls around my bed. I was working as a medical esthetician in my business, and I went in, and the first client, I'm like, huh, did your aunt just die? And she's like, yeah, how'd you know that? And I'm like, I have no idea how I knew that. I'm like, did you clean our house out this weekend? She goes, yeah, we cleaned the house out. I said, huh. Like, did you happen to find one of those sock puppets from the 1950s that looks like a monkey? She goes, yeah, we found one in the attic. And I'm like, oh my God.
Wow.
Oh my
And
God.
it just got continued. Every client that I saw, it got stronger. The third one that came in had a man in full military uniform come in behind her. And I looked at her, I'm like, are you a widow? She's like, yeah. I'm like, was your husband in the military? She goes, yeah. I'm like, oh my God. Now I got this guy in the room, and I'm like, well, if he had a message for you, would you want to know? And she's like, absolutely not. And now I'm like, I can't tell her. She doesn't want to know. And I'm like, I'm an hour with this woman, and this guy's standing next to me saying she doesn't want to talk to me. I'm like, I don't.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I was going nuts. I had to grab like the Awakening magazine. I was calling every psychic and every medium I could find. How do I shut this off? How do I stop this? I don't know. I don't know. I don't have those abilities. I'm like, what are you talking about? You put it in here that you're a me. I don't know how to do. I'm like, oh my God.
Oh my
So
goodness.
is this something that you can control now, or
Yes, thank
oh,
God. It's
okay.
the old adage that when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. And the
I
first
gotcha.
woman that I ended up going to a speaking engagement, and the woman was a psychic medium and um, taught classes and things. And she was in Boston and about an hour away. And I called up to see if she had any appointments available. She had nothing for like 2 months. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. So I left my number just in case she got a cancellation, and lo and behold, she got a cancellation the next day. So I went up there and sat down. She's like, well, show me what you can do. I'm like, I don't know what I can do. She's like, well, bring through some of my family. I'm like, I don't know how to do that. They just show up. So she
Right.
brought through her entire family, all of her ancestors, all the way back from Italy and Ireland, all the way back to the potato famine.
Wow.
And she's like, oh my God, oh my God. I'm like, yeah, okay. It was
Yeah.
insane. It was just insane. Then she hands me a piece of jewelry. Tell me where this came from. I'm like, okay. Now I'm doing this piece of jewelry all the way back to where the gold came from, for crying out loud. No, keep going forward. I want to know the last person. I'm like, okay. I described her aunt to a T who had cancer and bought it for her at a flea market. She's like, always wondered where it came from. I'm like, this is nuts.
Wow.
And then
Wow.
she had a witch that was on her property that had owned it and wanted her out. And she was, she like banned her from the property. But I'm in there and the doorbell keeps ringing. I'm like, there's somebody at the no, 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 that's her. She's just doing it. It was just, since the time I got there, she kept ringing the doorbell. Well, now I tap into her and I can see her standing on the side of the property, banging on pans, saying, it's my house, you got to go. I leave, I'm heading down the highway, down the freeway. All of a sudden, I spot her in the front seat of my car and I scream.
Mm.
She leaves, the papers go flying. I had to pull over. I'm like, oh my God, I can't live like this.
Oh my
Wow.
goodness.
So yes, I spent a year and a half training with some couple of very wonderful people, and they taught me how to turn it on, how to turn it off, who I'm speaking with,
I
how to connect,
gotcha.
how to protect myself. And then the rest of my education took from the other side, because my abilities were more than what theirs were. So they could only teach me so much.
I
So the rest of
gotcha.
my education's from the other side.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So like if, for example, you would have to turn it on if you were to pick up someone from Mirror April or and that sort of thing, like in this moment, or
Yeah,
would you? Yeah, I gotcha.
yeah, I do one thing or the other.
I
And the
gotcha.
reality
Okay.
of it is, if everybody could see what I see, it's like an episode of The Walking Dead, and you have to
Uh,
ignore them. You have to, because if they notice that you notice them, they get very angry that you're ignoring them.
I
Mm.
gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay, I gotcha. And also, you said that I know what we read in your bio that you help like people work through relationships and things of that nature as well,
So,
or
my book, All Fair in Love and Karma, talks about the 5 lessons that we're all here to learn. Your soul has to learn these advanced lessons in order to advance. And I learned these after making a relationship coaching program. My relationship mastery program I developed about 5 years ago. And I geared it towards teaching, reconciling people that had problems in their relationships. But I only work with one person, because it only takes one person to make or break anything. When you do something differently, everyone around you has to do something differently. So we're all magnets, and we're all attracting or repelling at any given time. And when you've been in an intimate relationship for a long period of time, what happens is you've attracted that person, your energy builds up, the magnets flip, and you start repelling each other. And if you separate for a while, you can get back together, the energy settles down, you'll attract again, but it will happen faster and faster until you get to the point that you can't fix it. And the only way to fix it is to balance your energy, because everything in the universe has to stay in balance. And because you're on the same energetic frequency with everyone in your life, it's like a radio station. You can't get the station in unless you're on the right frequency, right? Same thing. Everyone that's in your life is on that same frequency. So if you want to get more abundance or change up what's in your life, you need to raise your vibration and balance it. So law of attraction kicks in, but if you don't balance your energy, you're going to crash, because everything has to stay in balance. And when you raise your vibration, because everyone around you is on that frequency, they're either going to raise their vibration and rise to the occasion, or they're going to drop off. One of the two.
Mm.
That's how it works. And they'll drop off first, and then you'll bring in other people.
I think your
So
circle, like your friendship circle, the people that you spend the most time with, the people that you are around and influenced by, is so majorly impactful on your life.
it is.
How would you like, I guess what I don't even know how to say it. Like if like a little piece of advice for somebody that is around people that's like constantly draining their energy, because I hear that a lot.
So I used to always tell my kids, you can hang out with people that are going to bring you up or bring you down. It's your
Yeah.
choice. So when you raise your vibration, they will automatically drop off. It's that simple. And what's the, so everybody, so people need to really understand how energy works. Okay. People don't understand it because they can't see it, but you can't see the air you're breathing and it's there, right? You can't
Right.
see the microwaves cooking your food, but it's cooking your food. And energy is the same way. So everybody's walked into a funeral, right? And they felt that low vibration. It really drags you down. And everybody's walked into a wedding or a birthday party and felt that high vibration. And for anybody that's ever been in love, that's the highest vibration, right? So this is energy. And when you start getting in touch with feeling that energy and understanding it, you raise your vibration. Laughter will raise your vibration. The fastest way to get in touch with your soul is through meditation, but you need to do it properly. You have to protect yourself, because when you open yourself up to the universe, you're opening yourself up to good and evil as well. So every one of my books has the proper instructions in order to meditate properly. And, you know, we're here living a 3D experience, right? And while we're doing that, we're in this body. We have a brain in our head, right? Most of us.
Most of us.
Okay. Your brain is a massive computer. And other than helping you work through all the information that you have, your brain has a very specific job. What is that job? That job is to protect you. How does it do that? It does it by creating fear. So most people are making their decisions based on fear. All right. They do their little pro and con list and they think it all out. Well, that's all in your head. That's a crapshoot. Sometimes it's right, sometimes it's wrong, and you're always going to be questioning your decision. When you learn how to get in touch with your soul, that's that knowing, that gut feeling. Everybody's had something in their life that they just knew they were supposed to do, and they just did it, and it worked out fine. You have to learn how to do that in your life with everything. When I opened my first big business, I had opened a restaurant. I was a trained chef, and I didn't have any childcare for my youngest one. He was 10 months old, and I had gone through my first divorce. And I've got him in the kitchen with me because I can't find decent daycare. I'm like, we need a daycare here. I need to open. I just knew this is what I was supposed to do. Didn't have an early childhood background at the time, had to go back to school for it. Didn't know anything about opening a large daycare. I ended up opening one licensed for 125 kids from 6 weeks to 12 years old. I didn't know anything about the education system, didn't know anything about any of this, but I sold the restaurant and I'm like, I gotta open a daycare. It was like I just knew this was what I was supposed to do. And everybody's like, you are insane. You're gonna lose everything you've got. I'm like, you don't understand. I know. It's the knowing. And I'll tell you, it ended up being amazing. And it was the first of 2 daycares that were huge. Yeah.
Wow.
So
So
that's
you
the
knew
knowing.
that you knew. Yeah.
You have
Without
to
a shadow of a doubt.
that's your soul. That's the path you're
Yeah.
supposed to be on. And it will always be the right door. Always.
You are
Yeah.
literally a force. You've had about
Yeah.
10 businesses.
I've had 17 actually.
17?
Wow.
17 restaurants, real estate, construction company, daycare, day spa, sports spa, consignment stores, catering companies. I was a professional cake decorator when I was young as well. I used to do wedding cakes. Yeah, I've done lots
Oh,
and lots of
My
stuff in my
God.
life.
that's
Yeah.
amazing.
It is, because we talk about the pivot. You are the
And that's why I'm a recovered serial entrepreneur. I'm only running 2 businesses now.
awesome. So you've
Yeah.
always been entrepreneurial, like at heart.
Yeah, I mean, I was running 5 businesses most of the time at once. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
that's
crazy.
wonderful. So going back into I can speak for myself, but maybe someone that's similar with my story, where I mean I have 2 marriages that ended in divorce as well, and when the latter one was more traumatic for me. It was a toxic relationship. Now, how do you like? if you work with clients, how do you like help them? I feel like I'm finding myself to where I can get to the point where I kind of know that I know, like you spoke of a minute ago, like, but I'm not quite there yet. So how do
So
you coach people through that?
So first of all, there's only three types of relationships, okay?
Okay.
There's a karmic relationship, a soulmate relationship, and a twin flame. And most people are going to have multiple karmic and multiple soulmate relationships. Every relationship is meant to teach you one of these 5 lessons. We learn our lessons faster on this side than we do on the other side, and faster still within relationship. And remember, everything is a relationship. Business is a relationship. You're in relationship with your clients, your employees, your coworkers. You're in relationship with your family, your friends. It's not just intimate relationships. Every relationship is there to teach you something. So a karma is created in this lifetime you're in. If you do something to someone else and you do not have regret or remorse and you do not make amends, you now owe that person something in a next lifetime. Okay. And it's never negative. It's never negative. Everything that happens in your life is always for your highest and best. Nothing is ever happening to you. It's always happening for you. You have to understand that. Okay. And say you stole money from somebody in a past lifetime. They're not going to come back and steal money from you in this lifetime. They'll probably come back and be your boss and teach you about money. Okay. Because money is energy. That's why it's called currency.
Mm.
So you know you're in a karmic relationship because it never quite feels right. You're always looking for the shoe to drop or one of the red flags. You're always looking for something, right? And as soon as one or the other learns the lesson, that relationship ends immediately. It's like you wake up in the morning and say, why do I even have this person in my life anymore? I'm done. That's a karmic relationship. A soulmate relationship is also there to teach you something or for you to teach the other person, but it's also there to afford you some love and comfort along the way. Now, a soulmate relationship does not have to end after the lesson is learned. That depends on what you wrote into your life plan. And you wrote this life plan before you came here. So if you don't like what's happening, you really have no one to blame but yourself. And it's probably just because you're stubborn. The universe wants you to think you have free will, right? But the only free will you really have is whether or not you're going to delay your lessons, because you can delay them until your next lifetime if you want. The universe is going to offer you door 1, 2, and 3. You take door 1, you go through it, you get married, you have a couple of kids, you get divorced. Where are you going to be? In front of door 1, 2, and 3. Most people are creatures of habit. What do? They take door 1 again. They're going to go through it. They're going to get married, have a couple more kids, and get divorced again. If you've learned the lesson you were supposed to learn, you're not going to take door 1 again. You're going to take door 2 or door 3. And you may still get married and have more children, but you're not going to get divorced for the reasons that you did before because you learned that lesson. Okay.
When I tell you about these lessons, that's so true. I'm tired of learning. I feel like hooked on phonics is not working for me. I just stopped opening doors because I'm stubborn. One door, 1, 2, or
And it's
3.
going to take you longer. So when you learn the 5 lessons, you literally, it's like Christmas every day. You can have anything you want in your life. So the first lesson is self-worth. And self-worth is not value. Value is what other people place on you. Self-worth is the understanding that you are so important. You're the only one in this entire universe. Imagine that, how important you are, that they thought we needed you. And it is not selfish and it is not narcissistic to put yourself first. It's where everything else comes from. If you can't take care of yourself first, you're not going to be here to take care of anybody else, are you? It's that simple. And no one has power over you. I can't look at you and say, I want you to fall in love with me, or I want you to hate me. I can't make you anything. That's all on you. You are responsible for how you feel. No one can make you happy either. That's on you. And when you're happy, your vibration comes up and it will ping pong off of everybody else around you. That's how it works. The next lesson is communication and trust. You have to trust that there is a higher power and there is only one. You also have to trust that you made this plan so that everything that is happening in your life is happening for you. And there's a reason for it. Nothing's accidental. Okay. And everybody can look back in their life and see how everything brought you to the next thing and the next thing and the next thing and brought you to here, right where you are right now. Right. And you're always exactly where you're supposed to be in life. Remember that. And some of the things that happen in your life, you didn't like it when they were happening, right? Maybe the universe had to give you a little push because you were a little stubborn. When you look back, you say, oh, it's a good thing it did happen because it wouldn't have brought me to the next thing, right? This is how it works. Going forward's a little bit more challenging. This is why you have to learn to trust your soul to put you on the path you're supposed to be on. If you knew everything that was going to happen in your life ahead of time, you wouldn't get out of bed in the morning. It's that simple. But you need to listen to your soul to follow that path. And you have to be able to communicate your wants and needs to the people in your life, whether or not it's your boss, your friends, your family, your lover. You need to be able to communicate. And then sex is nothing more than communication and trust in the bedroom. If you can't communicate outside the bedroom, you're never going to be able to communicate inside the bedroom. It's that simple. Then you have unconditional love. So unconditional love is not saying, oh, I better stay in this relationship with him. Only, he only beats me on Sundays, but I'm supposed to be practicing unconditional love. That's not unconditional love. This is where self-worth is going to kick back in again, because each lesson is going to keep reinforcing the next one. Unconditional love is saying, listen, I love you. I care about you. We had a good run. It's not working anymore. It's not bringing me joy. We need to go our separate ways. I want the best for you and I want the best for me. And it's meaning it. It's not waiting till the weekend and bad mouthing in front of all your friends. It's truly wanting the best for everyone and moving on. Suppose you had a child that you loved dearly and they did something horrific like murdering a neighbor in a fit of rage and they go to prison for the rest of their life. You don't like what your child did, but hopefully you're still going to love your child, right? Then I have people tell me, oh, well, there's conditions there. It was your child or it was somebody you love. No. Well, then if you can't learn it that way, the universe will make it a little tougher on you. Maybe a drunk driver will take your child. Are you going to hate that driver for the rest of your life and have it destroy your life? Or are you going to understand that your child most likely wrote that into his plan, that he wasn't going to be here that long, and the driver has some lessons that he needs to learn? You have to be able to look at life from a higher perspective. Then you have money and balance. Money is energy. It's why it's called currency. And it's what we use in this 3D life to show whether or not your life is in balance. Everything has to be an even exchange of energy. You don't walk into a grocery store and plop down $1 million to buy a gallon of milk, right? Not yet.
Not yet.
Not yet. It has to be an equal exchange of energy. Suppose you're working 80 hours a week and you have no time for your friends, your family, your own life. You're out of balance. And if you're just saving your money, you're not spending it, then you don't have enough self-worth to spend the fruits of your labor on yourself either. Everything has to stay in balance. This is why when you raise your vibration and the law of attraction kicks in, if you don't balance your energy, you crash and you lose it. Okay. And the last lesson everybody has to learn is patience. And we live in a world right now of instant gratification. Everybody wants everything right now, and it doesn't work that way. Everything comes to you in the time that it's supposed to. How stupid would it be if every little 5-year-old girl that wants to get dressed up and have a wedding and get married and have babies, if the stork starts delivering them, right? Kind of stupid. Same thing if you're in your 30s and you're going, oh, my biological clock is ticking. I wanted to get married and have kids. It's getting a little late. Well, then clearly you didn't write it into your life plan this time. And it doesn't mean it's never going to happen. Maybe when you're in your 50s, you're going to marry a widow and raise his kids. You don't know. You don't know. You have to take every day as it comes and see what happens. Be excited about what could come into your life because you never know. Everything can change in one day. It's just amazing when you really understand how everything works.
I got some studying to do, I think.
You
But
and me both.
yeah, that's very
I'm so
powerful.
excited and happy for you that you were able to achieve that level of clarity, and at least in understanding it for yourself, and then moving forward to help other people, because some of those pillars, those 5 pillars, really, really are an anchor for a lot of people. And then that's just saying like if it's one of them, sometimes it's multiple.
Well, it's
Because I think
amazing.
forgiveness
Yeah.
like ties into the
Yeah.
unconditional love
Unconditional
a
love,
lot, and
absolutely.
forgiveness is hard for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, I've had people, so my relationship mastery program is only 7 weeks. It only takes 7 weeks, believe it or not, to do all this if you do it properly. And I've had one guy comes to mind right now who was in prison at the time. He got out of prison. He was going to commit suicide and he saw me pop up on an ad and contacted me, signed up for the webinar, watched the webinar, and he was older gentleman, small town farmer, had taken in friends' cattle and fell on hard times, and he was selling their cattle off. And obviously got caught very quickly and ended up going to prison 6 months. And being such a small town, no one wanted anything to do with him. He was ostracized. His wife divorced him in prison. His kids wouldn't talk to him. He figured had nothing left when he came back out. After going through the program, everything changed so much for him. He decided that he always wanted to own a restaurant, so he got a franchise on a food truck. Started with that. Within a year, he had written his first book about his experience of everything that happened. He went and talked to all the people in town that he had sold their cattle and offered to pay them back and make payments on them. So, and explained what happened, and they all realized it could have been them. His kids rallied around him. Here we are, it's been 5 years, I think, since he's done the program. Now he's got a full restaurant plus the food truck on his second book, dating his wife again because she's the love of his life. I mean, everything came back amazing, and he's an incredible guy.
That is amazing. So speaking of
Yes.
your 7-week program, where can people find you?
They can go to my website. It's very easy, juneedward.com. There's no S in there, juneedward.com. There are links to all of my books on there. There is a webinar that you can sign up for free to learn a little bit more about how energy works. And if you're interested in the mastery program, you can sign up for a call with me after. There's lots of videos from all of my students on there. And you can sign up for a reading with me or a relationship consultation if you'd like. Or mediumship if you want to talk to somebody on the other side, or business consultations. I still do business consultations, believe it or not.
Wow, you
So,
do it all.
Pretty
right.
much.
Yeah. So you all heard the info. Get connected with June, and yeah, I think I got some work to do myself. So I might be contacting you. So,
A
but
lot of
yeah,
us do.
yeah. So if you can give us some like last couple of minutes of words of encouragement to people, kind of like my story or anyone business starting out or that kind of thing. What would you say? Like, how can you encourage them?
When you're starting out in business, start out small. My big mistake
Mhm.
in every one of my business, I always go big or go home. You don't want to do that. Start out small, but learn how to meditate and get in touch with your soul, and you'll have that guidance. Because as much as you're afraid to move forward in business because you think you're going to lose money, again, money's energy, and the universe will always make sure that you have what you need. I had literally $10,000 in my pocket when I opened that first daycare. 5,000 rent the building. I bought the contents for 5,000, and I turned it into 50,000. So the universe wants you to live in abundance. Trust that.
I believe
Trust your
that.
soul. Trust your soul, and you'll be fine.
Wow.
Amazing. I believe that. That's
That's
awesome.
a big gem. Yeah. Really did
Yes.
start off small because we all have that perfection thing. We want everything to be big and pretty and perfect, and it just doesn't start like that all the
No, it
time.
does not.
Right. So we
Thank
really
you so much,
appreciate your
Jen.
story, sharing your story with us. It was amazing. And thank you so much for coming on with us.
No, it's my pleasure. Thank you both. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Thank you guys for watching.
Thank you. Y'all have a great night.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.